Hello everyone and welcome to the latest Tempo Storm Wild Meta Snapshot breakdown. The impacts of Saviors of Uldum and the balance changes following its release have been massive, and the success of Secret Mage has shaken the format to its core. Mage remains the class to beat, but the meta has adjusted and Snip Snap OTK Warlock and Mech hand buff Paladin have risen to prominence in response. With the refinement of these newer decks, the effectiveness of other format staples is shifting around, and some other familiar faces are poised to make a comeback. Before we go over these latest developments, don't forget to subscribe to the Tempo Storm Hearthstone YouTube channel to stay up to date with our Hearthstone content. Now let's get started. Secret Mage still reigns supreme in the post-Saviors balance change meta. The power of Arcane Flak Mage and Flame Ward to clear boards and stifle aggression, early board presence with Arcanologist and Mad Scientist, and a Lunith to draw massive damage quickly has certainly changed the wild meta landscape. With its popularity and strong place in the meta, Secret Mage has a target on its back, and Eater of Secrets has never been more popular. Top-performing mage lists have been stable for a while, with Ice Block, Duplicate, Polymorph, Boar, and the second copy of Flame Ward being the most common flex spots. Joining Secret Mage in Tier 1 is Snip Snap OTK Warlock, whose popularity has skyrocketed due to its high-level performance on Legend Ladder. Revolving around using Summoning Portal, Mech Warper, and Snip Snap to build a massive board or fuel a high-damage OTK, current builds are tuned to draw the combo as soon as possible with Novice Engineers and the Life Tap Hero Power, and defend itself with Defile and Plague of Flames. The deck's win condition is very difficult to interact with and can feel quite unfair, driving the deck to Big Priest levels of notoriety and controversy. Rounding out Tier 1 is Odd Rogue, which continues to be the most powerful and consistent odd or even deck in the meta. Odd Rogue's ability to dominate the board with its upgraded hero power, pirate package, and high-tempo minions gives it reasonable matchups against everything except the Reno decks. As one of the few tempo decks that can give Secret Mage a run for its money, Odd Rogue's place at the top of the meta is close to guaranteed as long as Secret Mage is the deck to beat. Our Tier 2 picks for this snapshot include a variety of decks that are solid picks for climbing, even if they are not as dominant as the Tier 1 decks. We have 8 decks considered Tier 2 in this snapshot, and in this video we're highlighting 2 of the most consistent players in the meta and 2 up-and-comers. At the top of Tier 2 we have Reno Warlock as the best of the Reno-style decks in Wild. Built around the Highlander mechanic of Reno Jackson, Kazakis, and Zephyrs the Great, Reno Lock is the most powerful and flexible control deck in Wild. In the hands of a skilled pilot, its combination of early removal, taunts, disruption, and top end can beat just about anything, even if it doesn't truly dominate everything. An exception to this is the Snip Snap OTK Warlock matchup, as Reno Lock's removal and disruptive suite is poorly positioned against an early rush of stacked Snip Snaps, and even if that rush is dealt with, Mechathune is a popular tech for the OTK deck that gives it inevitability. Even with this matchup in mind, its reasonable matchup against Secret Mage and other aggro decks make it a solid pick for climbing. Next up in Tier 2 we have Even Shaman. Previously in Tier 1, Even Shaman is finding itself in an increasingly poor position in the meta, with rough matchups against both Secret Mage and Snip Snap Warlock. With that being said, it still has the ability to dominate board-centric matchups like Murloc Shaman and Mech hand buff Paladin, and it's still doing powerful things with above-curve minions and fast damage, so it remains a powerful option for climbing the Legend Ladder. Mech hand buff Paladin is the latest addition in Tier 2 and has unseated Odd Paladin as the Wild Paladin deck of choice in terms of both performance and popularity. Mech hand buff revolves around the synergy between the hand buff and magnetic mechanics, along with cost reductions from Mech Warper and Galvanizer to build any mech into a colossal threat. Its potential to stack unstoppable minions as early as turn 3 makes it a force to be reckoned with, even if its all-in approach is a little inconsistent. With a positive Secret Mage matchup and massive high roll potential against everything else, Mech hand buff Paladin has forged itself a place in the meta alongside the best decks in Wild. Finally, in Tier 2, we have a bit of a dark horse pick in Mech Hunter. Ever since the release of Galvanizer and the magnetic mechanic, Mech Hunter has been the go-to face hunter deck in Wild, with a dominating curve starting with Cogmaster and Mech Warper, leading into buffs with Spider Bombs and War Gears. In previous metas, its all-in approach and dependence on minion damage left it stranded against tempo decks and heavy removal, and made it a rough pick for climbing ladder after a certain point. However, Mech Hunter has a phenomenal matchup against Secret Mage, with its ability to go tall going a long way against Arcane Flak Mage, and its ability to tech Eater of Secrets or Flare, giving the Hunter the tools to crack the Mage's defenses. With this in mind, Hunter can be a solid choice for climbing in a mage-infested meta. Our final deck for this showcase is a blast from the past. Reno Priest is back and may have the best meta positioning it's ever had since the nerf to Raza the Chained. Like the other Reno decks, it leverages Highlander deck construction to enable Reno Jackson, Kazakis, and Zephrys the Great, and has a strong suite of removal options and healing to keep it afloat against aggro. Its win condition is to activate both Raza the Chained and Shadow Reaper Anduin to access the discounted hero power, then deliver an OTK using Prophet Velen and Mirage Caller, or Spawn of Shadows discounted by Emperor Tharazan. This combo has become much more effective in a meta where armor-gaining druids and warriors have become very uncommon. Reno Priest is positioned uniquely well against Snip Snap OTK Warlock, since Mass Hysteria, Psychic Scream, and Shadow Reaper Anduin's Battlecry can neutralize a big Snap board, and damage from Warlock's life tap makes it easier to assemble your damage-based OTK. Thanks to its strong Warlock matchup and decent matchups against the rest of the meta, we're seeing some high legend pushes with the deck on multiple servers, including our featured list from Memnarch HS peaking at rank 6 legend. In light of its recent success, we're keeping a close eye on Reno Priest as a potential meta breaker, so be sure to give it a try. In conclusion, with the recent developments of Snip Snap OTK Warlock and Mech hand buff Paladin, the meta is showing signs of reining in the dominance of Secret Mage. Even so, the meta remains in flux, and if we're sure of anything, we're sure that the release of Saviors of Uldum and the Barnes balance change will continue to drive shakeups in Wild for months to come. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel to keep an eye on Wild developments, and let us know in the comments where you think the Wild meta will end up next. Thanks for watching!